which is now a Category 2 storm. The winds are starting to pick up, and we have started to see some flooding in low-lying areas around the city. We've decided to close Shore Acres and Snell Isle due to storm impacts and safety concerns. Only residents will be allowed in those areas. Now, we're still on track to receive from 5 to 8 feet of storm surge, and this will be a 12 to 36 hour surge event. Ultimately, this is an unprecedented amount of storm surge for St. Pete. I say this so residents can understand just how serious this storm is and can take the necessary precautions to protect yourselves and your families. At this point, if you have not evacuated, you need to shelter in place. The storm conditions will only worsen over the next hours. The roads are becoming dangerous, and it's not safe to drive. We have high water vehicles ready to use, but we hope we don't have to use them. First responders may not be able to get to you until after the storm passes. We don't want to put them into unnecessary danger. Additionally, we ask that all residents, regardless if you're in an evacuation zone or not, please stay off the roads until the storm passes. Please don't drive around to look for damage or to sightsee or to see the flooding. This is for your safety and the safety of our first responders. Once again, your safety and your family's safety is our highest priority. Please take this storm seriously and please stay safe. For updates during and after the storm, please monitor local news media, the National Weather Service, disaster.pinellas.gov, and social media. And now I'll pass it over to Yolanda for translation in Spanish. Yolanda.
Thank you, Mayor. Buenos días. Estamos empezando a sentir los impactos del huracán Helene, que ahora es una tormenta de categoría 2. Los vientos están empezando a aumentar y hemos empezado a ver algunas inundaciones en las zonas bajas de la ciudad. Todavía esperamos recibir entre 5 y 8 pies de marejada ciclónica. Esto va a durar de 12 a 36 horas. Esto es sin precedente para St. Petersburg. Por favor, tome refugio y permanézcase fuera de las carreteras. A esta hora, si usted no ha evacuado, tiene que refugiarse donde esté. Las condiciones de la tormenta solo van a seguir empeorando. Las carreteras se están volviendo peligrosas y no es seguro conducir en ellas. Los barrios de Shore Acres y Snell Isle están cerradas. Solamente residentes pueden entrar. Después que pase la tormenta, por favor, no conduzcan en busca de daños o para ver las inundaciones. Esto es para su seguridad.
Thank you, Yolanda. Amber?
Thank you, Mayor. Hurricane Helene continues to track northward through the Gulf of Mexico. As the storm tracks north, it's going to track closer to Tampa Bay, and we'll continue to see those increased impacts as the storm makes its way northward. We anticipated it passing the Tampa Bay area sometime later this afternoon. That's when we'll see those strongest impacts. As expected, storm surge is already impacting our neighborhoods and will continue to rise throughout the day, and will stay high all through the night into tomorrow. It's going to be a long duration event. Because of this rising water, many of our residents in those low-lying areas, the window for safe evacuation is over. It's time to start talking about sheltering in place, and I want to take a second to talk about what that looks like and how to stay safe in your home. First, do not go outside and wade through the water. The flood water and storm surge can move very quickly, and live power lines could be hidden under the water, as well as other hazards, so stay inside, stay safe. If floodwater begins to enter your home, make sure your power is secured by flipping the main breaker, and also turn off the gas if you can. Go to a higher floor. If you don't have a higher floor, move to a little bit higher ground. Stand or sit on, higher surfaces, whether it's chairs, tables, countertops. In an emergency, you can call 911. We have high water rescue vehicles and boats staged around the city, but please understand there's a certain point in time where we can no longer safely get to you. So please make yourself safe in your house, secure that power, and take those precautions as you can. Please continue to monitor social media, TV, radio for the latest updates. Our Emergency Operations Center is activated. We have 5 department sub-centers also activated. We're working throughout the city for the duration of the storm. We're here to try to help keep you safe and keep you informed around the clock. So as long as the storm's here, as long as we're seeing impacts, we're here and we're working and we're listening, and we're going to try to, or we will be communicating with you throughout. So we're in for a long day and a long night, and stay safe.
As I said, we're honored to have an emergency management partner with Duke, and honored to have Melissa here, State President.
Thank you, Mayor. Good morning, everyone. So I have 3 things that I want to share with you. So first and foremost, I want to assure you that Duke Energy Florida is ready. We have 8,000 resources that we have brought into the state to help us with restoration and a rebuild if that's necessary in some parts of the state that we serve. Those 8,000 resources include everything from line personnel to vegetation management, damage assessors, leadership who can ensure that our crews remain safe. It also includes staffing EOCs and working closely with our municipalities. So all of those resources are ready to respond to whatever Hurricane Helene brings to the state of Florida. The second thing that I want to emphasize is really what the mayor brought up, and that is around safety. All of the obstacles that the mayor talked about as far as interfering with the ability to keep people safe, the inability for law enforcement or fire rescue to reach somebody because of flooding, those are all the same things that inhibit our ability to restore service. And so we are imploring our customers, the citizens of Pinellas County and every other county that we serve, and the citizens of St. Petersburg, to please heed these warnings. We promise to get the power on as soon as we can, and we want you to be able to get home and get back to your lives. So please heed those warnings. The third thing is partnership. Duke Energy Florida will be right here with the city of St. Petersburg, as we are every single day, working with the mayor, his staff, those in the EOC, along with the fire chief and his team, and law enforcement as well. And we have been through many events together. This one is different. This storm surge is something we have not seen in at least my almost 40 years that I've been with this company and here in St. Petersburg. So please stay safe. And again, I reassure you that Duke Energy Florida is prepared to restore your service once we are able to get out in the field and start that work. Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa and Amber. That concludes our update. Are there any questions?
Were you guys surprised at the areas experiencing flooding at 8 a.m. and you know, how does that make you feel as we still have, you know, like another 12 hours to go?
Well, you know, we've been saying consistently this will be an unprecedented event in terms of storm surge and the impact. I don't know if Claude's in the room to talk about saturation and why you saw that so early in the process, but the total impact of the 5 to 8 feet is something that we've never seen. As Melissa said, I certainly hasn't seen it since I've been in office. So this is going to be different than any storm that we've seen before. And Claude, do you want to speak on saturation and why we started to see some of the effects early?
Thank you, Mayor. Claude Tankersley, Public Works Administrator. As we have seen, the grounds are saturated, therefore they cannot absorb any water. So any water that comes down through rainfall runs off. But we knew that as the storm was going to be coming our way, that we were going to start getting some of that rise in the water, not the full storm surge, but the partial storm surge in the beginning, and it hit at the same time as our high tide today. And so we weren't surprised. It met what we were anticipating.
Real quick, just because you mentioned tides, do you have any idea of whenever we are expecting the peak storm surge, how that will coincide with our tides?
It's the peak storm surge we're anticipating around 11 o'clock tonight, and the normal tides at that time would normally be lower. So we do not anticipate the peak of the storm surge to hit at the same time as we would have a normal high tide.
Claude, the city asked residents to limit water usage beginning today. Can you walk us through how the water systems are doing and what's the status?
Sure, the water systems are operating fine at this time. We are seeing, I'll tell you, one thing we do want to ask citizens to do. Do not remove manholes and clean out caps in an attempt to try to drain streets. Because unfortunately, a lot of times people will remove a manhole that is for the sanitary sewer system, allowing stormwater into our sanitary sewer system. This can result in that system overflowing somewhere else and maybe even backing up into somebody else's home. So we've seen this already today. We're asking people, please do not do this.
When you mean you say you've seen it, there's been reports of it, of people moving sanitary potholes out and stormwater going in? Can you
Yes.
elaborate on that?
Yes, we've had one instance where we actually had to go and replace the manhole because a resident had taken it off.
Because the street was flooded?
Yes, correct.
Okay, where was this?
On Newton Avenue. Thank you.
Could we talk a little bit more about the high water vehicles, where they're stationed, and how much water can they get into it? At what point will they not be able, will the trucks not be able to get in?
Okay. Chief Womack?
Yeah, we currently have 4 high water vehicles staffed. They're stationed north, mid, and south in the city strategically to address our low-lying areas. Varying on the vehicle, at about 4 feet, 4 to 5 feet, it gets very difficult for those vehicles to be utilized. But we also have boat teams staged also north, mid, south, where we'll transition to john boats, low draft rescue boats to remove people when we can no longer get there with the high water vehicles.
And you haven't had to use those boat teams yet?
Not yet.
Do you have any ballpark numbers of evacuation figures, and can you say if, you know, how you feel that process as when, do you think people have, sufficiently evacuated, or would you have liked to see more people?
I don't know if we have a count on evacuation, but we have shelter counts. Do you have the latest numbers, Amber? So the last count I saw, I think we're up around 700-800 in shelters at Gibbs and John Hopkins.
Would you have liked to see more people evacuate?
Well, we don't have the number. We don't know, how many folks have left, but we would like everyone in Zone A to evacuate, given the strength of this storm. All right.
One more question, and might be a little tricky. I was thinking about, how much weight and pressure water puts on something. And I'm wondering how a high storm surge like that, if that weight and pressure, how that will affect underground infrastructure.
We're turning to the science guy. Claude?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mark. So usually for underground infrastructure, if the infrastructure itself is saturated, if it's already full of water, like a pressurized water pipe, then the weight of the water is not going to have an issue. What we do see is if you have a pipe that is not full, such as a sanitary sewer system pipe that runs by gravity, it's not pressurized, then that extra weight on top of it, while it won't do anything to the pipe, it will help push some of that groundwater into the pipe, leading to extra groundwater and stormwater in our system, which could lead to sanitary sewer overflows.
Thank you, Claude. All right. Well, thank you all for joining us, and everybody stay safe out there. Thank you.